Hello and welcome back to The Other Side, hosted by me, ASOS. If you didn't know, now you know. We're doing a comfy podcast today where I'm sitting on my couch and you guys get to have a little bit more comfy, cozy vibes. I am in a new place, so I am trying to figure out where's going to be the best place to record right now, but that's like a runaway sidetrack story. Let's dive in to our story today and what we're going to be gossiping about together, which is going to be something that I'm very late to the party about, but I don't care because this has been blowing up in the paranormal world and I still feel like it's going to be relevant for some time, and there's going to be new developments that come out that I can definitely talk about. So there might be multiple parts to this. But like I said, it's been blowing up in the paranormal world. I've needed some time to process this, but we are going to be joining in to the Warrens, haunted artifacts, and some very unexpected new caretakers of the Warrens home and occult museum. That's right, I'm going to be talking about what everybody is talking about. It's a little basic, and I know it's a little basic, okay? You don't gotta come at me. But, and there's a big but. Before we jump into the most basic thing that you could ever talk about, let's talk about something that happened to me, and let's go a little closer to home. So last Sunday, like a week ago, I went to see this home that's on for sale, and I'm going to show you the Zillow listing of it, and you're going to be like, wait a minute, that's for sale? Yes, I know, that's for sale, and it's cray, because as you can see from the photos, there's no windows, the door is like just a wooden piece just boarding it up, and there's actually no windows for the basement either. There's no door for the basement that goes out into the backyard. There's no gates except for on like one side of the property line. But if you look inside as well, there's no walls, there's no stairs going up because it's a three-story home. But I don't think it's a three-story home. I think they're counting the basement as one of the levels. So it's like the basement, the main floor, and then the second floor. And there's no stairs going up. They have a ladder, a literal ladder to get up there. So it was just mind-boggling that like this place was for sale. So obviously I had to like really look at this place and check it out because I was like, why? And as I was looking at the basement, I did see a bug, okay? We're gonna have a confessional time and we're gonna be honest before I show you what I found. So I saw a bug go this way, but behind the bug, I also saw like this little anomaly just go choo, and it went way faster than the bug. Like the bug was just like chilling, vibing, doing its thing, and this thing that was behind it just moved super quickly. And you'll see it in the video where it just moves out of frame super fast, and like you have to might replay it a few times, and I might try to see if I can get it to replay for you guys a few times so that way you can see it. It's like on the bottom corner. And the weird thing is that in the recording you don't see the bug that I'm talking about, but you do see the little anomaly go by really fast. And I know that orbs are very much a hot button topic within the paranormal community. However, I do think that it's very unexplained because again, you see the bug there. I know people can argue about dust, but I've seen dust before and like the way that it falls and everything like that, and it's usually accompanied by a lot of other little dust particles. And this was just like one little thing that just went in and out of frame. And if it was like a little hair, like you could see it, but this thing was not even in any other frame and it moved so quickly. So I do want you guys to see it and let me know in the comments what y'all think. If you guys do think that it's dust or if you think that it's the bug and there's just something else that was making my mind play tricks, I don't mind. Give me your honest opinion if you think it's something entirely different. So check out the video now. Now that you've watched the video, what are your opinions? What are your thoughts? Again, leave it in the comments. All right, so now let's cross over into tonight's main story, which is the Warrens. And again, they're in famous occult museum and the shocking news about who's going to be taking care of it now. So this is going to be the other side of the Warrens. And again, we're going to do multiple parts of this because we don't know what's going to happen yet, and things are still unfolding as we speak, which is why I've taken a little bit of time to process this information. So, if you do not know anything about the Warrens and their legacy, they are known as the paranormal pioneers. They are considered the couple that made paranormal, ghost hunting, demonology, all of that good stuff mainstream and what we have today because they inspired the Conjuring movies. Amityville Horror was one of their cases. They also had the Enfield Poltergeist. Annabelle the doll is in their possession and they worked on that case. They even worked on so many other cases that we all know about. But these movies and everything like that has become a franchise. It has become, millions and millions of dollars worth of these movies and everything like that. So the Warrens are very much respected, but they are also very much criticized because of how mainstream they made everything. And there are people who often will say that they do not believe in the Warrens, they do not actually believe in any of their cases, and that many things were fabricated. Even their own son-in-law and also their daughter has also spoken out against this, but we'll get more into that later. So, if you did not know um, about the Warrens, they had their home in Monroe, Connecticut, and they built an occult museum to hold over 750 haunted artifacts. And each of them have their own dark stories, supernatural experiences, it's cursed objects, it's a piano that plays all by itself. And it was started in 1952 when they began to fill it with, again, all their collections from their cases, which is like a really weird collection. Visitors would be allowed to come in to see these objects. They were open to the public for years until 2019 when Lorraine Warren passed away and there was some rezoning issues that shut it down. Now, this occult museum has always been a hot button topic for a lot of people because at the time, now keep in mind, this was like started back in 1952, and the tickets apparently were $75, which is a lot of money back then. It's still a lot of money today. And a lot of people had complained about this, and they even complained about some of the events that they hosted. So, one of the events that they had hosted was Dinner with Annabelle, which was very, very controversial. I think it's controversial for obvious reasons because if you're telling people that this is a cursed object, that if you stare at this object, if you take pictures of this object, if you take this object out of its box, there will be bad things that will happen to you. And yet they still try to make their museum all about educating the public, about letting people know about the paranormal, letting people know about demonology and why these cursed objects need to be kept safe and away from people, how to protect themselves and everything. So they did try to use their museum for good. Now, again, they died, unfortunately. Ed and Lorraine Warren are unfortunately not with us anymore, so that does bring into, well, who is going to take care of their home and their museum, which obviously it would go to their daughter and it would go to their son-in-law. However, if you do not know about their daughter, Judy, she does not believe in the paranormal community. She does not really want to be a part of it. She's never, ever, ever wanted to be a part of it. She always has stated that she was terrified to live in that home. She would never really see her parents. She would always want to sleep with them, never alone. She would never go into the occult museum. And it took her a very, very long time to get into the movies and get into the franchise and to respect and to understand the legacy that her parents had created. And now she's very much like dove full into it and everything, and she understands the importance of her parents' legacy, but she was not always like that. So it is very interesting to think about what their decision was because I still don't understand their decision about giving the home and the museum to somebody else to take care of, because it's very much like, why? If it was just left there since 2019, why now? There's just so many questions in here. So I bet you're like, okay, we'll get more into who's now going to be the new owners, and I should say caretakers of the museum and the home and all 750 artifacts. It was announced that comedian Matt Rife and YouTuber Elton Castee would become the legal caretakers of the Warren Home and Occult Museum. And now, a quick disclaimer before I go any further, actually, I should probably say that, these are my opinions. You should take things with a grain of salt. You don't have to agree with me. That's fine. But let's start off with who Elton Castee is. YouTube career started with travel vlogs and eventually shifted into paranormal investigation. He has been ghost hunting for a while now, and according to his social media, he's very passionate about the paranormal community, which is great. I don't mind that. I don't mind if you're passionate about the paranormal community, because I do think that this is a field that needs respect. It does not need any more criticism. It does not need any more people to poke holes into it, or people to take it and make fun of what has been built and the credibility towards it, I guess you would say. Now, the other person that is part of this is Matt Rife. And I feel like we all know who Matt Rife is. I feel like we knew who Matt Rife was before he even did this, because he's been a very, very controversial person. He is exclusively known for comedy, but there is a surprise that he has had paranormal experiences. He's exclusively known for comedy, but okay, so I'm just recording this really quickly because I obviously recorded the video beforehand and I'm just sitting here editing it. And as I'm sitting here editing it, I'm probably gonna have to move this away. I noticed that there's like a whisper, and I can't explain what this whisper is. I'm not saying it's paranormal. I'm just saying that it's really weird. And I will also add, not to try to say that it's anything, but I've been having issues with my audio, and that's why this video is taking so long to come out, because I've recorded it 4 times and all 4 times the audio is really weird. And then the fourth time that I did it, I was like, you know what, I'm sick and tired of this. I'm just going to record. I'm just going to put it out. I'm tired of trying to figure out the audio situation. And then as I'm recording, I hear that little whisper, and I feel like it just says like, hey. And that's me personally. I tried manipulating the audio so that it's a little bit better, but I am not an expertise in that. So you get what you get, and beggars don't be beggars. Tell me what you think. That date back to his childhood. He has spoken candidly in interviews about seeing a spirit in his father's old room. His father did pass away when he was young. And he also has dreamt of ghosts. He's even encountered a woman in black when he was just only 6 years old. As an adult, he's gone on multiple investigations, and he does state that he's a firm believer in the supernatural. Now, still, this announcement has come to a very big shock to everybody, despite the fact that these two do dive into the paranormal community. I think that it just became a big shock. In my opinion, I think that it's just a big shock because I don't think that people trust them, number one, because again, like I said, like this is very much an important home and artifacts within the paranormal community, and you don't want to just have it in the hands of anybody. It's like trusting your child. I know that's terrible to say, but it's like trusting your child with a stranger, and you're like, who the heck is this person? Like that's not right. And that's how a lot of people feel. It just feels like, why them? Why? Yes, they're in the paranormal community, but why? What is the reasoning behind trusting people who are not really like household names within the paranormal community? They are household names in their own respected fields of comedy and in YouTube, but it's not somebody like Zach Pagans. It's not somebody like, may he rest in peace, Dan Rivera. It's not Nick Groff. It's not, any of those names that you really think about. Sam and Colby, Garrett Watts. I would say Garrett Watts because I know that he really likes paranormal stuff, and he actually buys haunted buildings and everything like that. That's why I say his name. Those are household names. Those are names that everybody who is in the paranormal community and watches the paranormal community do really respect and note. So it was just like, who are these people? Who are these people, and who are they to take this seriously? But I do want to, clarify something, because I do think that a lot of people are looking at this and they think that they own it. Like that's it. Like they own it. That's a done deal. However, I do want to clarify something, that they don't actually own the artifacts. They've just been given guardianship and caretaker status for 5 years, which I think that was another thing that I saw all over like social media and everything like that, was a lot of people just didn't understand why 5 years. Why are they only being called like guardians and caretakers? What does that really mean? And I don't think that Tony Shapiro, Ed and Lorraine Warren's son, really explained it very well in interviews, because he says that him and his wife, Judy, they still legally own the collection and they have no plans to sell it. They've just leased it to Rife and Castade to maintain. But the mystery is like nobody can really answer it, because they said in interviews like, no, 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 we just leased it to them and them to take care of it and for 5 years, but we still own it. And it's like, okay, if that's the truth, then why? And I don't, and I'm going to keep repeating myself, why? It just doesn't make, you know, any sense. And it doesn't make any sense within the times that we're in at this current moment, because if you guys did not know, a few months back in June, that sorry, July, not June, July, Dan Rivera died. Now, if you do not know who Dan Rivera is, he's a paranormal investigator. He was the handler of the Annabelle doll on the Devil's Run tour. It was a very controversial tour, and a lot of people did not understand who the hell gave him the right to take the Annabelle doll on tour, because, again, this is an artifact that Ed and Lorraine Warren have stated multiple times it needs to be blessed. It needs to be kept in a glass case. It needs to be away from everybody else because of the repercussions that it has when it is not being protected the way that they have always protected it for years. So he had died on July 13th, and it was known as natural causes. But everybody knows from like the Devil's Run tour that there was a plantation that burnt down. There was inmates that got loose. There was a lot of really suspicious activities that were happening within the cities and states where the Annabelle was stopping. So the fact that Dan Rivera just died all of a sudden from natural causes, and it was very unexpected, didn't make any sense to a lot of people. He died in his hotel room there in Gettysburg. A lot of people thought that it was suspicious, and even Zach Pagans, who I'm going to keep mentioning, spoke out on this because he's had an experience with the Annabelle doll, and he remembers what it was like to be around in that presence of the doll, which is why it's really important to note this stuff, because that is the severity of those artifacts, that somebody has died taking care of that artifact already. Zach Pagans has talked about his horrible experience with the doll back in 2017. And now here you have two people who, again, yes, they dive into the paranormal, but how invested are they really? How respectful are they really? How are they going to handle this? So now this is going to get into why I was bringing up Dan Rivera and why I was also talking about Zach Pagans and their experience, because the thing is that Matt Rife has stated that his plan is to allow tours and overnight investigations in the Warrens' home. And I got nervous at first because Matt Rife really just said, it's going to be a haunted Airbnb, and that's how everybody felt. And then a lot of people were like, is this a cash grab? What's the purpose of this? This doesn't make any sense to anybody. But then I did like Elton Castee, who said, no, 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 no. Like, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be supervised, which is great, because I was thinking people are going to be alone by themselves, but you're not. You're going to be supervised, and it's going to be a guided tour. And I do like that better of a structure, but I'm still very nervous about opening the doors to the public in this way. It's just a really hard decision to weigh and to think about, because I don't think it's a smart decision. I think we're watching a mistake unfold in real time. I really don't think that we can trust these two people, and that's my opinion. Like, I get it. Like, a lot of people are gonna be like, just trust them, it's fine. I just don't trust it because, again, like, I'm worried about the repercussions of their safety, other people's safety. I'm very much worried about what is gonna happen when they open the doors and people go in there. what are we going to see? What are we going to hear? Is there going to be more tragedy that happens? Is there going to be accidents that happen? Do they have plans for not being sued by other people coming in there and suing them for getting injured or hurt or cursed or whatever? You know what I mean? It's just like a lot of like opinions and thoughts and everything like that, because this is not a home or an occult museum that is to be messed with. It's something that needs to be respected and to have people who actually care about it take care of it. So that's my rant on who is the new caretakers. And I will constantly say that they do not own it, because they don't own it. They are the caretakers of the Warrens Home and Occult Museum and all 750 artifacts. But I do want to know you guys' thoughts and your opinions on this entire situation. And hopefully, you guys sticked around with me and are excited for me to keep talking about this, because we all feel like this is a lot and everybody's always talking about this, because it's a very hot-bedded and very opinionated kind of conversation. But again, just let me know your thoughts. Thanks for joining me tonight on The Other Side. I'm your host as always, ASOS, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.